Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Hey, welcome to this episode, a special episode of the Note Closure Show. We are actually live streaming this on a Wednesday night as we're recording this. And we've got a special guest joining us on here. But we had such a good response to us going through those 66, 67 reverse mortgages last week. And I goofed up on some with the formulas, what happens when you do a mail merge with formulas and stuff like that. But we've also had the influx in of some other stuff here. And so I thought we'd break down a couple notes from Minnesota that came in off that list and another one because, guys, we see deals all across the country. And I had to give a big shout out to the guy here who's with me. I'll introduce him in a second. He said, "Hey, I don't see much notes. Do you ever see notes in my state?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah. Well, when you ask, you shall receive." So we focused on these couple notes that we found in the Twin Cities. We had another one today. I was like, "Oh, well, let's go through these deals." And we're going to break them down much more in depth than we went through as kind of a quick overview the other night. Spent the afternoon doing some due diligence on these. I actually have hard numbers on what the fund is looking for on these. So it gives us a better accurate calculation to see if these are deals or duds. And I actually just got an email in from the asset manager on the fourth one on a question I asked him earlier, which I didn't even update on the spreadsheet here. So that's okay. So let's go through it. We are going to go through let's see, get my slides here, right? Four Minnesota nights.
Yeah. So let me just say before we start, Scott, I mean, really, the amount of time it took you to put that PDF together for us, you went way above on that one. So really appreciate that time, just going out and getting pictures for things appreciate that.
No problem, because we all are visual creatures. It didn't take nearly as long as most people would. It took me about 2 hours to do that, but just working with one of my VAs to pull some photos. I ran some numbers, and then I did a mail merge. Instead of it going to a PowerPoint, I mail merged it from an Excel to a PDF document, and then that saved so much time. And then I converted it to a PDF, and then just that we scroll through the PDF once the photos were included. But anyway, this night it's all through PowerPoint and going from there. But we're going to focus on these four notes. That's me from actually in September being up in Minnesota. This is at Bemidji. If you don't know, Minnesota is the land of 10,000 lakes and land of Paul Bunyan and Babe, his blue ox, all across the area there. So it had a great time there. Very near and dear to Minnesota since I was born up there. I have a lot of family up there. Texas is home, but Minnesota is second. But anyway,
I'll give you some trivia. Minnesota has more shoreline than the east and west coast of the United States.
Yes, it does. More shoreline. It's hard to believe that. It's also the land of winter and July. And the national bird is not the loon, it's the mosquito.
That's right.
So anyway, my special guest, he's mentioned, he's chimed in here, is Dale Brost. And he is out of Minnesota. There's a photo of him from climbing. Where's this photo taken?
I'm up at the top of Mauna Kea on the Big Island of Hawaii. I was stationed over in Hawaii and actually spent my 21st birthday at that pretty much the same spot up at the observatories. And this is me there 30 some odd years later.
It's a beautiful sunrise there, right? It's one of those things.
If you had the original picture off in the horizon, you would see Maui.
Yep. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I've been up there and done that before when we were over there. It's awesome. But Dale is a note investor. He's also a digital marketing consultant out there. He leads, don't you lead a special interest group in your local RIA there?
Very active in our local RIA. Off and on a member of the RIA for 20 some odd years, but they know me as a note investor locally. And historically, really, until I met you, Scott, I was just buying performing notes around the United States. And I was doing some private lending on land deals and what have you. But so they know me as a note person. So I do have a subgroup in the Minnesota RIA. But really, that group is to teach real estate investors how to create notes, right? How to work with terms, how to use the financial calculator, all those things. But now, every month, just this month, real estate investors are coming. Even people with many, many rentals saying, "How do I convert my rentals over to notes?"
Yeah. We get a lot of people asking about notes. It's a hot market. I've been around for 20 years. And love it. I think it's the easiest way to invest without having to create another job for you. But that's my personal opinion. Yeah. You live in Minnetonka. If you don't know where Minnetonka is, it is where Minnetonka moccasins are made. I've had a couple pair of those.
And Tonka toys.
Yeah, Tonka toys,
Tonka
exactly.
trucks. Yep.
Tonka trucks, exactly. And a member of our WCN membership. But most importantly, you're also a U.S. Army veteran. So we thank you for your
Oh, thank
service,
you.
sir. Yeah,
Yeah. Loved it.
awesome.
I loved it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Well, let's dive into it. So, for those of you, we talked briefly a second ago, this is what Minnesota looks like if it's up there next to the border. And when we map these four notes, that's kind of the mapping so you can kind of see where they are in the state. They're around the Twin Cities. Actually, this is a closer grouping of them. Three of them are in Hennepin County,
Yeah.
relatively close there. And it just gives you a geographic area of where it is. I mean, Minnesota's got a lot of areas out there, look at a lot of stuff rural, but when you get something in the Twin Cities, it's great to jump in there and do a dive. Well, this is more so Minneapolis itself, but let's dive into it. So, give you a bit of an idea what the photos look like. Here are what the photos of the first three, and we talked about these briefly on last Thursday night. If you've listened to the longer podcast, me breaking down them. And then this is a picture of the fourth one that I got in 2 days ago from another hedge fund seller. So give you a breakdown on these are all four non-performing notes. Okay, they're all first liens. You should know by now that's about all we focus on here for ourselves. We have the pricing. I actually have what the bank lender wants for all four of these, which is great. When you ask, you shall receive. And my pricing wasn't too far off of what I quoted. I thought they would come in at when we went through the full 66. Three are with one seller, and then the fourth one, the new one, is with a different seller. Three are vacant reverse mortgages where the borrower was deceased and passed on. One is a traditional non-performing note. It's a 30-year mortgage. The occupancy is unknown, but based on the photo and what I could find out, it looks like it may be occupied, but just hasn't been paying in a while. Legal foreclosure has just started on all of them. Now, Dale, what's the time frame for foreclosure in Minnesota? You said you spoke with an attorney recently there. What did he give you as far as time frame from start to finish?
Yeah, so that's the normal. It's what the information that you had was correct. It was that, but it's the redemption period. It is a 12-month redemption.
Yeah.
However, in the conversation, especially on the reverse mortgages, if someone were to buy the note, they could petition the court as somebody that has interest and actually go down to it's a 5-week. Yeah, you can accelerate it to a 5-week foreclosure.
Oh, that's not so 5-week foreclosure, but still when you're redemption or a 6-month redemption, does it vary?
What? So, well, good question. I have
I think I
there?
saw if the person's deceased, it's a 6-month redemption period.
Yeah, that'd be right. It would be knock it down to a 6-month redemption. Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Awesome. And we do have interior inspections, BPOs. I even have lockbox codes on the 3 reverse mortgages. And so, Dale, if you feel like venturing out into the frozen tundra of Minneapolis and that negative wind chill weather, you can go do that if you want to later on.
Yeah, I'll be going up to the Plymouth property tomorrow. I'm taking my rehabber with me.
Nice.
You know what? If you were to stick me in the middle of a house and ask me to estimate rehabs, I would be completely lost. So,
oh yeah,
I got to take
These days,
somebody
so
with
different.
me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. So, now to give you a bit of an idea, when I ran kind of breaking down deals, I figured in about a $5,000 cost to foreclose on these, and then it's probably a little bit less than that, but with servicing some other holding costs, you may run into that. Then I also figured if you're going to take the property back and don't sell it at the foreclosure auction, if you're going to sell it as an REO, I like to calculate a 10% off of the BPO or sales price as an expense of going to closing costs and commissions. So you get an idea when we start talking about some of these numbers, where these numbers pop up and go from there. I tried to make it very simple to follow in. We're not going to be jumping in a spreadsheet to look at all the stuff. I literally just kind of laid it all out here in bullet points for you guys to take a look here. And Dale, if you have questions, feel free to comment, or you got like something about something, hey, jump in there. We'll talk back and forth about these, because I think it's the best way for people to learn is when questions are asked. You know what I mean? So,
well, a thing that you just brought up was the 10% on the BPO that's to sell it as an REO though. Okay. All right.
Yeah. If you end up taking the property back and have to market it like in the MLS, about 10%,
Yeah. Okay.
If you sell at the foreclosure auction, that's great. I'm assuming you sell it for full value at the foreclosure auction. If you list it that, if not, then you'll take it back. Because that's where the numbers make sense. All right. Now I did not include any rehab costs in these. My opinion is if you're going to put rehab costs into it, it should increase the value, and it kind of offsets a little bit. The BPOs that we have are not AVMs. They're actually The sellers did on 3 out of 4 of these pay for a full BPO, so it's sitting as is in value is what they're giving as BPO. ARV updating, like if you paint that pink house, you would probably add $20,000 in value. It's just a different color, but we're going to leave that be depending on what you end up doing. The 3 reverse mortgages that we have interior BPOs, there is going to be some junk in there that are left behind. Based on what I can tell, and we'll actually pull those up and walk through those individually so people can kind of see what they look like. Most of them look really, really good. If they were trashed out, we wouldn't be focused on, but most of them are just cosmetic is what I can think. And maybe some updating as well too. So anyway, let's talk about the Plymouth one. This is the one that you're the hottest on, that you like.
Yeah, it's a good part of the cities. Yeah.
Yep.
It's suburb, right?
Mhm.
It's out of Minneapolis and you're in the suburbs. Yeah.
Yep. So this is a reverse mortgage. The lender gave it a BPO value of 470. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,131 square foot. It was built in 1961. Now, one thing that I like to add here, especially in Minnesota, a lot of these homes will have basements, right, Dale?
Yeah.
Yep. And I don't know
Or
if the
there'll be
square foot.
split level, or there'll be a
Yep,
split level.
exactly. If it's got a basement, it may be in the square foot, it may not. I don't know that. So sometimes we've seen things where it was like square footage was included or it was worked out. There's an extra bathroom. So that's why these inspection reports are really nice without having to go try to guesstimate in a lot of cases. The unpaid balance of this is $348,000. The legal balance on this one is $377,000. So there is some equity, approximately about $93,000 in positive equity. All right.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a reverse mortgage. The borrower's been deceased for a while.
Yeah, in
The last
July
pay
last
due,
year.
yeah, so relatively recent. Now
Yeah.
I don't know if the person was out of the house beforehand. We've had that happen before, where the people was in hospice or they were out of
The
the
ob
property.
the obituary matches the date, Scott.
Okay, that's what I figured. So, and the foreclosure, the notice of intent to foreclose has just been started, sent out by the existing servicer and lender. Okay, so you're at the beginning of that process to foreclose. It's in Hennepin County. Annual taxes are $6,600. Those have already been paid. There's 0 back due on taxes, which is always nice. Okay, that's one thing you always want to check before making an offer too, ladies and gentlemen, is check the taxes, because that will have dramatic effect. And I'll talk about that with our last asset today, who had a good chunk of value on it, and it led to a negotiating with the lender directly, and he's already responded. Now, the seller on this, the fund that holds this, is looking for $330,000 on this note. Now, I mentioned they're looking, depending on somewhere around 80%, low 80. They want a little bit higher in this one. They want 87.5% of legal because there is equity, but 70.2% of the BPO. All right. That's just taking 330, divide that by either the 377 or the 470 up there, so you can figure the percentage there. So let's go through the strategies that involved with this. So since this has some equity and it's a reverse mortgage, you're not going to get the bar coming back to the table paying once they've died. Okay. A reverse mortgage is basically either A, buy it and sell it at the foreclosure auction, or B, take it back and sell it as an REO. I did not include in here if you were to turn it into rental or owner finance that. If you're using this much money and you had tied up, I'm a bigger advocate of selling it and getting your money in and then going out and do something else versus tying up a ton of equity in a new note origination. And I definitely don't like rentals right now. But anyway, that's my personal opinion. If you want to do something else, that's completely fine. But we're just going to focus on the 2 basic ones here for you tonight with this one. So if you bought the note, since there is equity, the legal balance would be the highest you could bid at the auction, which is 377. So you take 377, you minus what the bank wants of this at 330. That leaves you with about a $47,000 gross profit margin. Okay. Now, if you take the $5,000 out for foreclosure costs, that leaves you at 42K, give or take. Now, if you don't use all $5,000, that's some profit. Okay. But we're just going to figure that in to be a little bit more realistic about cost here for you guys. Okay. I want to under promise and over deliver, not the other way around. All right. If you take that 42,000 and divide it by your cost basis, now, if you figure $330,000 purchase price plus the 5K foreclosure cost, that's where the 335 comes in. A quick annualization on that, or if you did that in a year, it'd be a 12.54% ROI, which is not bad. Now, if you're going to do this in 6 months and get it speed up with expedited foreclosure and the redemption period being shortened down some, It would be at 25.1% if you get this thing sold in 6 months if you annualize the return. Okay, not bad. If you're using
No.
your own funds,
Yep.
but if you're using somebody else's funds, it's kind of a skinny deal. Would you agree to that, Dale?
I would agree. Yes.
Yeah. And I don't know days on market on this. I hadn't checked. I forgot to check that, but you're in the middle of winter right now. Not a lot of people looking at new properties right now when it's 40 below, right?
Not a whole lot, but I tell you what, inventory up here is pretty darn tight.
Yep.
And people are, I mean, I'm involved in like 3 rehabs right now, and they're moving. I'm
That's
closing on
good.
one, matter of fact, on the 27th. Yeah, they're moving. Yeah.
Congrats, man.
Oh,
Congrats.
appreciate it.
Now, what was your when you finished on it, finished the rehab, and then what was your how long did it take you to sell in your rehab?
Uh, well, some of these have kind of fallen through, but we're doing it within 30 days for sure.
Oh, okay, that's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
30, 45. That's good. Awesome. All right.
Right now, we're in that rate environment that, it can change from week to week, right? People make an
Yeah.
offer and back out. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that varies a little bit, but like I say, anything under under 100, under 90 days is really good right now.
Oh,
For the
yeah.
most
Yeah.
part.
Nothing's
Yeah.
going to sit that long here.
No. All right. So now the second thing would be to buy the note. And if it didn't sell at the auction, then you've taken it back and then market it as an REO in a lot of cases. Now, the thing is, if it doesn't sell at the foreclosure auction, you do have a redemption period. You're going to be holding on to this at least 6 months. So it does give you some time to rehab it while you're going through that process before you market it. So let's go through that. So once again, the BPO is 470 on this, which is what the value is of the property as is. Minus your purchase price is 330. That leaves you with $140,000 gross profit, which is pretty nice. But after your $5,000 in closing cost or $5,000 in servicing costs, and then 10% of the 470 going towards closing cost commissions, I know that's probably a little bit high, but I'm going to throw that in there. That gives you an $88,000 net profit if you're using your own funds. If you take that 88,000 divided by what you'd borrow from an investor at 300 or 330 your cost basis plus the 5K, that comes out to a 26.3% ROI in a year. If you were able to close on this in 6 months, it's a nice whopping 52.5% ROI on a 6-month deal. All right. Not too bad. My opinion is it can be a skinny deal if sold at the foreclosure at that 12%. A decent deal if sold as an REO. Now, if you got to use somebody else's money, I think it's a little too skinny. Unless you've got cheaper money or you've got a partner that's bringing the money and you're doing the work and working together on it. Yeah. But this is the one you were the hottest on. You really like this one the most, right, Dale?
Yeah, because in a situation, my partner coming in on this one, which has the rehabbing and the experience like that, if we end up in that situation, he's coming in as the money partner. So, yeah,
perfect, and that makes it makes a pretty decent return for you guys on that. Well. That's awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, you know what? Let's dive into the interior inspection report on this one. What do you say here for you, real fast? We're not going to share the address. We don't want to violate any NDAs and sharing the address. Dale has it, but that's okay. I've signed a master NDA, and Dale's allowed to say this stuff. So let's pull up the inspection.
Now, so question before we get into this, Scott, is this what most inspection reports look like?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is what most inspection reports are going to, interior inspection reports. Now, what will happen, since this is a HUD loan, when a HUD finds out that a house is vacant, no matter whether it's a reverse mortgage or a 30-year, if they find a house is vacant, they're going to go out and secure the property, especially if it's vacant, change the locks. So you'll see on these inspections.
How did you know these were HUD? It wasn't on the spreadsheet anywhere. Did you just talk to
all reverse mortgages are pretty much HUD loans.
Okay, so they're like, HECMs or something like that. Okay.
HECM, exactly. Home equity, convertible mortgage. All right, so we're just going to go down to the photos here. So here's kind of, and one thing you'll see, obviously, the notice is, hey, who to reach out to. Let me blow this up a little bit so we get a little bit better view on these.
I didn't see that. I wonder what the acreage or what the lot size is. I didn't look that up.
Yeah, I think it's about a half an acre if I remember. This was taken in July 3rd of 24. So about the time the lady passed. Let's see here. You can see pictures of that. Looks like they've got some shrub, down trees. Doesn't
is the
look
trailer included?
Yeah, it is actually. If it's still there.
There you go. We're already ahead of the game.
Yeah. One of the properties I was looking at in Oklahoma City has a car, an old Buick sitting in the garage that's got about an inch of dust on it. All right, so here we get in the inside of the house. Here, I wish they would have labeled it. A lot of times the inspection reports will have the room labeled, but this one doesn't. But you can tell what looks like this photo looks like it's in pretty good condition. This a picture of, I think, the garage. Yeah, there we go. So you can see the stone walls, the garage, kind of normal. Whereas, yeah, that's going to be a garage. We go down here. The external lock and the combo lock on it. It's secured. The water heater's there. That's good. Is this more of the garage or
That should be the
upstairs?
basement. That's part of
Yeah,
your
that's the
basement.
basement. So semi-finished basement. Yeah. Let's go over here. Oh, the HVAC is still there. That's good. Okay. Is that a fuse box?
That's a very interesting fuse. That's a fuse box. Yeah,
Yeah, you would probably need to, if you're going to sell this, would you have to replace that?
I would imagine so.
Yeah, I'd have to imagine so. So a little bit of cost in there. Okay. Looks like,
Now he gave a thumbs down somewhere on something. I couldn't figure out what he was giving a thumbs down
yeah, I
on.
couldn't tell either. I will get to that in a second. Yeah, but here you can see there's some, most of these reverse mortgages are going to have, that must be a sub pump he's
Okay.
talking about. That's probably what that is. Maybe it doesn't have it. I can't tell. Maybe they have the basement sub pump. This guy didn't take very good photos. Okay, so you see upstairs.
A little bit of trash out.
You're gonna have that in every one of these. You're gonna have to trash some stuff out. You know, now you got some bookshelves, you got your mattresses. These are all in pretty good spot. I mean, not too bad stuff, some older stuff, old TV, ladder, desks. Yeah, this lady didn't have a family, I guess. Old fridge.
Well, that's the weird thing when I was talking to my attorney and we were talking through this, like when we were talking about the probate and, errors that might come in. I don't know too many people that would have a 4-bedroom, 2-bath that wouldn't have kids.
Well, it could. Here's the thing about the reverse mortgages is that the borrower hasn't made payments in a couple of years because they haven't required to, right? And that's the idea of a reverse mortgage. It becomes annuity. They don't have to make monthly payments. But when they do pass away, the full balance becomes due. So a lot of heirs won't step in and, I got to come up with this money to save the house, or I don't have any money to repair it, so I don't want it. So it could be, if there's no probate on this stuff, it's just gonna.
So meaning in this case, the heirs would have to come in with the legal balance.
Yes, have to pay you off in full.
Okay.
Yep. There we go. So you get the toilet under the sink. Yep, that's good. Now here's the thing to look at. I like to look. You see laminate in here. Doesn't look like it needs a lot of work so far. A clean out and look at the nice countertops. That's pretty nice. Bedroom looks good there. Good walls, good sheetrock. Doesn't look like it's trashed out. There's no water stains, no roof caving in or anything like that. Yeah, it's in pretty good shape there. And that's the bottom of the images. So this one does not look that bad. This one looks like it's a pretty clean property. Clean out, of course. Maybe a new sub pump, maybe a new electric box, get rid of the fuse box, but in a pretty good spot. What's your thought on that, Dale?
Oh, I definitely agree. It's nothing. I mean, we do hoarder house rehabs.
Yeah.
So looking at that is, yeah.
It's a breath of fresh air. Breath of fresh air, right?
Yeah, that's an easy start on that one. But
cool.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Good stuff. Let's move on to the other one. This was in a Columbus Township. This is kind of that multi-level one. With the red door, the feng shui door, and the old car in the driveway over here. This one is a BPO value of $350. Now, this is a June of 2019 photo. It's the earliest photo I could find online. Now, the inspection report is more current photos, obviously. 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,086 square foot. It was built in 1973. The unpaid principal balance is $352. The legal balance is $364. So it's got negative equity of about, I don't know why I say 12, and about 12 to 14 grand. A reverse mortgage, deceased borrower. Last paid due date, borrower passed away October of 2019. The foreclosure notice of intent has just been mailed and starts here at the beginning point of it. It's in Anoka County for the taxes. I did look at this one. What was it? I think the taxes were only like $2,500. It wasn't that bad. No, it was more than that. It was like $4 grand, but nothing due. Okay. The seller is looking for $290 on this one. which is at basically 80 cents of the legal or at 82.9% of the BPO amount. Now let's go through the strategies on this. So if you were to buy this, it's the same thing. Reverse mortgage vacant, you're going to either buy the note and sell it at the foreclosure auction or take it back. So this is negative equity. You're going to look at the BPO because that's the legal balance is higher, but you're not going to collect on a legal balance is above value right now. So BPO value is at 350 minus the 290 purchase price that the bank is looking for. That's 60,000 gross. Take away your 5K in foreclosure costs, it nets out about 55 at the foreclosure auction. If you take that 55 and divide that by the 290 to purchase note and the 5K in costs, that's about an 18.6% ROI in 1 year. Or if you did this in 6 months, that's a nice 37.3% if you could do it in 6 months. Condition of the property doesn't look like it needs a lot of rehab, so you're waiting more for that redemption period to expire. Second thing, if you didn't sell it or at the foreclosure auction, let me rephrase that. If you sell at the foreclosure auction, you don't worry about the redemption period. You take it back as an REO, you have to worry about the redemption period. So same number as 350 minus 330. Why is it 330? That's not right. I forgot to change the 330. That's what it is. So it's basically minus 290 is 60K gross. Take away your 35,000 in foreclosure in closing costs and $5,000 in foreclosure. It's 40 off the 60. That's why you get to 20. 20K divided by your 295, which is your purchase price of 290 plus 5K, equals 6.81%. But if you did it in 6 months, it's 13.5. So this is definitely a skinny one if you had to take it back as an REO and try to sell it that way. So a decent deal was sold at the foreclosure, but pretty skinny if sold as an REO. Now, obviously, the value goes up if you're rehabbing and do some other things. That would be great. What's your thoughts on this one, Dale?
Well, I didn't look at this one that much, but I mean, to me, the numbers speak for themselves on this one, and I would agree that it becomes skinny.
Yeah, I mean, I would rerun numbers just to check the BPO values and see where it is currently, days on market, and that kind of stuff too. But it didn't look that. The thing you mentioned to me when we were talking about a property that's been sitting vacant for about 5 years, I would worry about that too.
Yeah, that was a difference because the one was just last year. The other two in Minneapolis have been vacant since 2019. So, but to your point, HUD is pretty good about keeping things secure, but if people want in, they'll get in. So
exactly. So let's look at the inspection report on this one. So this is the Columbus Township one. Here we go. And this report was run in July 19th of last year. So it's 5 months old. And let me blow these up so we can see a little bit better the interior. All right, so driving by, I guess the neighbors mowing the lawn. That's always nice. Look at that. Lily neighbor or somebody is still mowing the lawn.
I wonder because I don't know about this part, but I know like Minneapolis, I mean, if the lender does not keep the lawns cut and all that kind of stuff, they'll fine them. So I don't know.
Yeah, there might be a weed lien on this thing. I didn't pull title on this yet, but there could be very well a weed lien. And so you see it's on a pretty good sized lot. I think this is about 7. Yeah.
This is the one I was thinking of. Okay.
Yep. 810. So this is a multi-level. This is from the front, which doesn't look too bad. Guy mowing the lawn. Side of the house doesn't look too bad. It's still got the electric meter on it, which is decent. That's good.
I'm not digging the green, but okay.
Well, that's all cosmetic. You know what I mean? Avocado green was in style for a while. I guess this is the back of the house on the deck, which didn't look too bad from earlier photo. Yeah, it looks like is there a river or something that falls back behind there?
You must back into the woods, huh?
Yep. Winterization, telling you who to handle. Other side of the house. Let's go down here a little bit further. Here we go to get inside. So you open the door, your red door. I do like that red door though.
It's very Asian.
It is Asian, very feng shui for sure. So you got the upper level there, or the level it goes down. On this. Okay, let's see here. No holes in the sheetrock from what we can tell through the blurry photos.
Yeah, he must have been running through the property or something.
Yeah, exactly. Let me get in, get out. So you got a couch, you've got some older stuff. So it looks like Probably families come by and gotten some knickknacks, some furniture from the deceased. Yeah. Is that a grill?
Yeah,
That is a gas grill, isn't there?
that's a gas grill.
Hmm. Well, maybe there's a homeless guy living in this for a little bit. Who
We
knows?
keep our grills inside in Minnesota.
Right in the living room there. Damn the carbon monoxide poisoning. All right.
Yeah,
Look at that big armoire,
yeah.
china cabinet. Okay, kitchen. Here we go. These are always great photos. Kitchen doesn't look too bad, a little outdated. Um didn't look too bad. There's another view of the landing. Yeah, china cabinet looks like it's busted, but not too bad. It's an older. Those are expensive china cabinets. All right, there we go. That didn't look too bad. Okay. Oh, it's got a vacuum there for you, ready to rock and roll.
Heat
Looks
value's
like
going up.
every day there's going. There we go. So hey, it's better than those foam, press board cheap cabinets, microwave, all the appliances. Maybe it just needs a good clean out. You probably want to swap it. Oh, there you go. You ever wanted a 4-post bed, Dale? There you go.
I do not want one, but thank you anyway.
Okay, so here we go. Here we get into the I guess the main bath or the hall bath. Looks a little outdated
That's
based on this
retro.
photo, but it's still in pretty good condition for the most part. You guys do a lot of like we've got a company down here that does rebath that goes in there and changes up the color of tile and things like that. Inserts. Yeah. Hallway. Carpet looks pretty good, just needs a good cleaning, looks like. Then we get into the bedrooms with the older wood doors, but not bad. Yeah. Okay. Carpet's a little dirty there. This must be a Jack and Jill bathroom, or is this another different bathroom? Oh, it looks like the same one. Okay, a little smaller bedroom. Is good. The inspection report. This is going down to the landing, I guess. Peeking out the door. Back down. Okay. This is at the underneath the stair.
Under stair space.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
not bad. Oh, so you have the stuff downstairs here. Ooh, what is this? This may be the carpet needs to be ripped out on the bottom floor. You can offset it by the what you saw for the sofas. Yeah, twisted as in the okay, yeah, just dirt, I guess maybe. Books, junks, records. Ironing board. I guess it's got a second. Is that a mini
The
kitchen?
freezer.
Yeah,
Probably a
it's a deep
freezer
freeze.
for
That's what. Yeah,
it's where you put your deer meat.
that's right. And okay, yeah, that's a bad.
The laundry.
Yep, yep. And then I guess garage. Downstairs bathroom needs to be clean. Oh, that's probably what it is, just mud room. Office downstairs. Oh, the laminate flooring. Not so bad. Yeah, some nice amenities to it. Features. Yeah. What else we have?
Was this a Ford 2 as well?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Clean out and carpet and maybe updating the bathroom. What is? Oh, it must be. Oh, this is the garage. What is that? Oh, everybody needs a bone saw. There you go, hacksaw. Oh, here we go. So we got junk in the garage. There we go. Kind of normal. Not a bad. I mean, I give it a B plus. Oh, is that a car in there? A different one. I don't know what that is. Yeah. Have anything else? Nope, that's it. What's your thoughts on that one, Dale?
There's a lot to that one. Yeah. Again, it's because that's a tight inventory. I mean, really, in a way, all these can be attractive in their own way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. go back to the numbers on it. It's decent if it's sold at the foreclosure, skinny if you probably have to take it back. Now, if you find the great thing about due diligence is if you find the value is greater than what the asset manager tells you, that works in your favor. So,
You know, the thing I've been thinking about, especially with these Heckams, because we know that there's so much inventory out there, and I've been thinking that, especially across the country where this said, where there's lacking inventory, and really I appreciate funds and lenders starting to bring these properties to the market so we can start doing things with them and getting them back on there, because something that's been sitting vacant since 2019. One of them on that list, Scott, that you sent, 2017. I think one in South Dakota was 2014. So let's get these properties back on the market.
Well, that's the thing is if you have a property that sits for a long time, I've looked at some of these Heckams in Dallas where the roofs have caved in. They've been vacant for 10 years. They've been trashed out. That does nothing good to the neighborhood. It actually brings the values down of everybody around it. It leads to increased crime, vandalism. God knows we don't need any fire started anywhere else, especially in the cold weather and stuff like that. So yeah, there's opportunity here. And also the conversation I've had with lenders, like, listen, if you're wanting a price, you got to price this to move. Now the lender on this one, on the first two and this next one we're going to do, they're pretty set in their price. They're like, if we don't sell it for that, we'll take it back and do the rehab ourselves. They'll leave some meat on the bone for folks if you're coming in, right? Is it a slam dunk? You got to do a little bit of work to it, but still probably you could pick this up cheaper than you would buying an REO or definitely a property off the MLS in a lot of cases for the most part. So let's dive into the Pepto-Bismol Pink. I think it's the oldest one of these that we've looked at in Minnesota.
1923, I think. 1923.
Yes, 1923 is right.
Now this is proper South Minneapolis. This is in the city.
Now, is that a good area in South Minneapolis? A decent area? Rough? What's kind of the area?
Yeah, South Minneapolis. It is. I mean, it's up and coming. I know a lot of people that are buying. They're buying lots and they're building high efficiency multifamilies and what have you. So in this area, I think this was Clinton. So yeah, this part of South Minneapolis it's desirable because of the renovation that it's going through.
Well, this is on, it's a smaller house, definitely the smallest one on the block, but it still had a value. I kind of cracked up. The value in this one came in at $185,000. Now, this is a photo, that pink photo is from November of 2022. So not too old. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 768 square foot house. It was built in 1923, as we talked. So definitely a small house on this. Unpaid balance of $297,000. Legal balance of $332,000. I think the current condition has something to do with the value. So I think fixing this up would definitely help. Just painting it would increase the value a little bit. Yeah. This is negative equity of $147,000. So it's been sitting for a little while. As it monthly payments not being made, it should have been made. It's sitting up there. So deceased borrower on this one. Last paid date was 2019. So the borrower basically passed away right around end of 2019. So NOI has just been sent out. So just basically on the starting lane of the foreclosure. This is in Anoka County where the county taxes are $2,500. Zero is due on this one. And zero was due on the last one as well, everybody. That's why I didn't write it down because it was due. Zero was due. The seller is looking down for this one, $140,000, which is at 42.2% of the legal, but since it's got such a huge negative balance, it's kind of irrelevant, but at 75.7% of the as-is broker price opinion. Okay. So let's go. Once again, reverse mortgage, you basically have two strategies. Buy the note and either sell it to the foreclosure auction. And this is a negative equity deal, so you're selling it for the BPO amount, not the payoff amount. BPO is $185,000 minus the $140,000 purchase price the lender is looking for. That's $45,000 gross. Take away $5,000 for foreclosure costs, so you net $40K. $40K on your $145,000 purchase price plus foreclosure costs is a pretty nice 27.6% ROI if it took you a year. If you did it in 6 months, your annualized return would be a nice whopping 55.2%. Okay. Just running numbers here. We're not promising huge returns, but the return is nice, but it is a little bit smaller profit in some cases. Now, number two is to buy the note and sell it as an REO. It's going to be roughly about the same amount, except you're going to have more holding costs. So same thing. 185 is the BPO minus your purchase price plus the $5K and cost. But the new thing selling as an REO, you have an additional $19,000 in closing costs and commissions expected. Taxes were paid in full on this one, so that's nice. But that drops your profit down to $21,000 net, having to do a cleanup on it. $21,000 divided by your Cost base of 145 is 14.5% if it took a year, or 29% if you could do this in 6 months, start to finish. Not too bad. So a decent deal if sold, and a decent deal if it's sold as an REO. You know,
Yeah.
let's look at the. You're going to like this inspection report. I don't know if you looked at it earlier or not, but let's dive into this.
I did, and you know what? This is John Cougar Mellencamp's little pink houses. And my
See
and my real estate attorney was asking me about this one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good. So there you go. Let's look at this. Let's blow these up a little bit. It's just a little bit easier to see.
Once you get through the mess, it is kind of craftsman inside.
It totally is. Exactly. I mean, could have get rid of that green color on the other one and pink on this one. We add some value to it immediately. So you can see is the grandfather clock awaits you for this one.
It's there for the taking, apparently.
There for the taking, yeah. So this one looks like it's a converted what do you call that? Outside. I can't even think.
Yeah,
Enclosed.
kind of a three seasons kind of thing.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yeah, that was the front entry. That's very common in South Minneapolis.
Yeah, exactly. The porch, enclosed porch is that's what it is. So and you see that it's got more stuff in this one. I would expect that being in Minneapolis. Somebody's been through it and looked for some stuff, but they haven't. I mean, you get the old you know,
they got the squatters out before they took the pictures.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they've got stuff all over the place here, which isn't too bad. If you take a look at what you've got to trash out, Christmas lights are ready there for you to start putting them back up for the new Christmas holidays. I guess those are duplicate photos.
They went with purple in there, though.
Purple inside or purple?
No, in that landing at that patio area, they went pink everywhere in the house.
Oh yeah, I did. Well, you know, maybe they're San Antonio Spurs fans with it,
or they're Prince fans. They're Prince.
I would be bet more on the Prince fan side here.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so let's see. It looks like the same photos. They duplicate the photo.
What are they showing with that door? That somebody tried to bust the door? What are they showing there?
No, what they show is that this is the HUD lock. So
okay.
HUD realtors have a universal HUD key, so this lock has been changed.
Okay.
And a lot of times, so you'll see that it's the HUD key. It does look like it has been kicked though, based on the cracks on this one.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay. Okay, so you can see a little bit more of the stuff in there. It's like bookshelves, lamps. Yeah, looks like that's the top of that armoire. You get your TV.
Probably a porcelain tub or something. Or
yeah, it's a porcelain tub. It doesn't look like it's a crack. It looks like it's something else in there. Like
there's something laying in there.
Yeah, but it's still not in bad shape though. Look at that blue tile. It's kind of sharp. A good clean out. There we go. We are watching you.
Yeah.
There you go. Somebody has tagged it, the Satanist worshippers. Okay. But that's the only thing I think I see through that house that was tagged like that. So I'm surprised I didn't see more of that throughout. So you can see older furnishings, older wallpaper, your bed frame, older mirrors. Yeah. Kitchen. Don't look too bad. Yeah, but put new countertops if you can't clean up the paint. I think that's what that is. Good coat of paint. I mean, those are wooden cabinets anyway, so that's not so bad. Coat of paint does well. Yeah, it's not so bad. Older yellowy fixtures, that's pretty easy. It looks like is that laminate flooring?
Yeah, it looks like it probably is laminate. I wouldn't be surprised if it was actually tile.
It might be tile. Yeah, it's got some cracks in it, so maybe it is tile. So they're replacing that. I've seen a whole lot worse. It's pretty easy to fix those. Yeah, see the tile underneath here kind of cracked off.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it's not cracked. It's just the design. So maybe it is laminate. I mean, it's just okay. The inspection report. Another picture from above, from the kitchen looking in the living room. Not so bad. And that's it. So, a lot of cosmetic. I mean, structurally, it looks pretty sound, though, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. And this would be, if it's South Minneapolis, it's going to be off-street parking, or probably, there's no garage in the alleyway. So
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's going to be off street there for you. And what you didn't see based on the photos, there are some big wooden blocks in front of the house that I had to cut out and take the image view to get a better view of the house there a little bit. So it's got a little bit interesting wooden storage things in the front of the driveway, stuff like that. So, all right. So that was the interior inspection report for the and that takes us to the last one. Now, this is also Minneapolis. This is a non-reverse mortgage. This is a 30-year mortgage. It was a short-term loan, though. It only had a 2-year maturity date on this. It was good for 2 years on it. So it's a little bit different. I think it's occupied based on this photo. You can't really see it in this photo. When you look a little bit closer, you did have some stuff on by the front door. You had some hanging plants.
well, they got the garbage bins out.
The
Looks like
garbage bin
a recycling
is
bag.
Yeah, exactly. Recycling. So they were either doing some rehab to it. It originally has been picked up, is what I would assume based on what I found on the note on the tape that was sent to me. So this has a current BPO value of 289. This is July of 2023 photo. 2-bedroom, 1 bath. No, I'm sorry. This was that's what I get for copying that over. So it was a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house, 1,642 square feet. Not built in 1923. It was built in what did they say it was?
Probably
1971, 81,
okay.
something like that. Unpaid balance of 156K. The legal balance is 213K. So it's at a pretty good discount below the BPO value. So it's got positive equity of 76,000. Like I said, I presume it's occupied, but don't know. I didn't call the utility company or anything like that. It was originated in January 30th of 2019 at 156,000. It was a 10% interest rate loan. It matured February 28, 2021. So it's a 2-year loan. P&I amount of $1,367 a month. If you just took the 30-year and 10% and figured that. Now, if it was an interest-only loan, the payment might be a little bit cheaper, but I just figured it was the full P&I payment is $1,367.
Who would make a 2-year loan?
It could be a hard money lender, especially at the
Okay.
10% interest rate. If it was originated in 2019, I think that's more of a hard money lender, somebody lending on it for a couple of years. They'll give you
Okay.
24 months to do the rehab, and when that didn't get completed, that's when they moved out. Okay, or they may still be living and they're just dragging out the foreclosure process. This is Hennepin County, $4,250 a year in taxes, but there is $20,000 in back taxes owed. Okay. Now the seller that I got from didn't know that, which is surprising because he originally quoted me right, the 161 is what he wanted for this. I was like, okay, that's not so bad. Then I looked at, and there was 20,000 owed. I was like, oh, that's based on the value, based on the UPB, it might be a killer. So if we don't figure in the 20,000 owed right now, the seller's looking for 75.6% of the legal, or at 55.7 of the BPO. All right. The BPO is from this year, but based on what the lender has, doesn't mean the value hasn't gone up some. Okay. Now, since this is probably occupied and this is a 30-year mortgage, a traditional mortgage versus a reverse mortgage, this adds another strategy to it, or two. Okay. So let's go through the strategy. You could buy the note and then maybe potentially reinstate the borrower. Now, they've been paid in 4 or 5 years, but let's go through this here. So when I see something like this that defaulted prior to COVID or right at COVID, stuff like that, which is probably the reason they stopped paying, I'm willing to give people the chance to stay in the house. Now, if they were non-performing prior to COVID and they didn't get back on track during COVID, I'm probably just going to go straight to foreclosure. But this is occupied. Let's see what the numbers makes, if it makes sense. So if you take $1,367 a month, that's what I figure roughly their principal and interest payment is. If you multiply that times 12 months, I'm going to want them to bring 16 grand to the table, 16,404 to the table. Okay. On top of a year of mortgage payments. Okay. If they don't have money to bring to the table, I'm not going to allow them to do a forbearance agreement. It's just a bad thing. They haven't paid. We're just going to go the route to foreclose and go through. But if they had some skin in the game, hadn't paid in a couple of years, what have they done with that money they should have been saving? I'm going to ask them to bring that table and then start making the monthly payments of at least the $1,367. I prefer more. Okay. So the idea here is to get them to pay at least 2 years of payments in the first 12 months. I'm going to also ask them to reach out and start paying on the property taxes that's owed to 20 grand. It was already set up in an installment plan form. It literally said that on tax association. They've made one payment, but they haven't made an installment on the taxes in a couple of years. So that's another $4,000 per installment payment on that. So if you look at just the monthly payments of $1,367 and 12 months of skin in the game in the front end and making payments for 12 months, in year one, it would be about 32,808 collected. I'm going to take $1,500 off in servicing costs off of that because it's going to cost you about 95 bucks a month in servicing costs, and then attorneys just get the letter stuff and that kind of going. So I'm always just going to assume 1,500 bucks first year in servicing. So that gives me roughly 31,300 net. If you take the 31,300 and divide that by the purchase price of a 165 plus the $5,000 if you're going to borrow that from or use to have that available, if you have to foreclose or start that foreclosure process, that's about an 18.85% ROI in year one. Not too shabby. Okay. Now, if you after year one, if you allow them just to make payments going forth, and they're only making that 1 month of payment or 12 months of payments in year two, that drops it to a year two ROI of 9.63. Okay. Now, if you want them to make double payments for 2 years straight, that would be a good thing to get caught back up. Not a bad deal, but I'm always going to assume kind of like this aspect of things. Because if they start paying on time for a year after 12 months of on time, I'm going to turn around and try to sell that note as a reperforming note, potentially, but I'm not going to count on it. So if it's performing for a year, your servicing costs also will drop down from $95 plus a month, just down to roughly about flat $30, $35 a month. So that's why I said, okay, let's just figure in $400 in servicing costs on a performing note. All right, that gives you those two. Basically, if you get them back on track, you're looking at year one return, 18.85, give or take a little bit. After year one, if they're just making monthly payments and staying on track, it's 9.63. Thoughts on that, Dale?
Not really. I mean, the taxes do concern me on that one.
Oh yeah,
you know,
sure.
it's interesting. We don't know like the origin of this loan, so it wasn't, there wasn't escrow set up. So there's just a lot of questions, not a lot, but there's questions in my head around how, kind of what's going on here. But yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
mean, what are your thoughts? How likely, considering the condition and everything that's been in, that this borrower would be able to get back
Well,
on
I don't have
track?
I don't have an interior inspection report in this one. The lender on this one, this is the second lender that's in this one, so I don't have interior inspection. I'm just going off of the exterior photos that I see.
Right, but I'm just saying,
So
based on their payment history and kind of what's going on with the payment history,
I don't foresee them paying on time. Let's just put it that
that's
way.
okay. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
where I was going.
if they do, and I could do this, this actually makes pretty good sense to get them back on track. If they could do this, right? That's a big
No,
if.
yeah,
Now, second strategy then would be to buy the note and then foreclose and sell it either at the auction or then taking the property back. It's negative equity, so you're buying the note. Legal balance is 213. That's the highest you could get at the auction. Minus the 161,000 is the purchase price, equals 52,000 in gross. All right. It actually drops that down to 27,000 in gross, because if you've got to figure in $5,000 in foreclosure costs and paying the tax bill, because Uncle Sam would have to get paid before you get paid the foreclosure auction, that drops it down to 27 net. Okay. If you take your 27 net divided by your cost basis of 166 plus the 5 there, because you can have the taxes paid out of the foreclosure proceedings, whatever you get the foreclosure. So that's a 16.3% ROI in year one. Or if it took you a year to sell it, that if you did it in 6 months is a 32.5% ROI. Now, here's something that popped up I'll get to in just a second. Now, if you sell it as an REO, didn't sell it at the auction, BPO will be at 289 minus the 161,000 purchase price of the note equals $128,000 gross. $74,000 net after your foreclosure costs, your taxes, and paying the 10% closing costs and commissions to your realtors and title. That's a 74,000 gross divided by the 166 purchase price and foreclosure costs. That comes to about a 44.6% ROI if it took you a year, or obviously gets pretty nice there at 89% if you could do this in 6 months. Okay. You still have the same, since it's probably occupied, you're going to have that full probably year redemption period.
Yeah.
Unless you could give them cash for keys. Now you could give them some cash for keys to walk away from the property, but you wouldn't be able to sell it within a year. So maybe you could rent it out temporary. You could do that in all these four properties, renting out for a while if you wanted to. I wouldn't do short-term rentals, but you also, I think also Minneapolis is pretty stiff on short-term rentals too, right?
That's
Dale?
something like in St. Paul, they've capped it. I mean, you can't
Yeah.
even get any more in there.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the thing. It's a decent reinstatement at that, 18% cash and cash. It's a skinny foreclosure deal. It's 16, it's not too bad. 32 if you did it in 6 months. It's a great REO deal. Obviously, if you don't sell the auction, take it back. The lender is willing to consider about reducing the amount by the taxes owed.
Okay.
So that makes it a better deal.
Yeah.
That means if you sell it to foreclosure auction, you pay 20 grand less for it. That means it'd be 47. Let's figure that real quick here. So 47,000.
Does it really change your numbers though? Because
Yeah.
it's 20, it's 20 in and 20 out, isn't it?
Well, they reduce it. So then my cost goes from 161 to 141.
Okay.
So it just changes the profit, the net profit.
Okay.
So your 47 would be divided by still the 166. And that bumps it up to 28%.
Okay.
On the 1 year if you sold it at auction that way. So that'd be a pretty good deal. If you had to take it back, so you made, instead of 74, you make 94 divided by your 166. That's not including any foreclosure, rehab costs and these things. That puts it at 56.62. Could be a pretty good deal at that then, depending on days on market and going from there. All right. Let's see, what else do I have in there? So, yeah, Pepto-Bismol Pink, Plymouth, our red bi-level feng shui house, and then, of course, the one we just pulled out that we looked at there in Minneapolis. Thoughts, Dale?
No, I mean, it's super exciting to see this stuff, and I appreciate the fact that some Minneapolis and to your point, right? We don't have to buy in our own backyard. And like I told you from the beginning, it'd just be nice to get something in my, but especially if it's going to be rehab. I don't do cross country rehab, so
Yeah.
But no, I mean it's always good to those of us that are new to this certainly don't have the years of experience that you do, so we got to kind of mentally run through the numbers a few times, say, okay, now I get it. And then even in that situation, like the message I sent you once that reverse mortgage tape came out, the fund didn't call it legal balance. They called it something else, but I kind of assumed that that's what they were talking about. So to your
Estimated
point,
payoff balance is
there you
what they
go.
called it. Yeah.
So
we just kind of figured it's legal. Yeah.
So to your point, as we spend more time and as we learn more about this industry, we get familiar with these, how it can look from lender to lender and from fund to fund.
Well, if you get a second, feel free to drive by those two Minneapolis ones. We're not too far from them.
Well, I would have to go past the Minneapolis one to get to the Plymouth one. So
well, then that's perfect.
It would just be a little bit of a detour. But
there you go. You check, see if this one is occupied or vacant. If you can, take it. When you do, go drive by, take a good external photo so we can take a look at that.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that second Minneapolis one that you sent that one later. So I'll have to pull that one up and look at it.
Cool. Yeah. Well, we are. Let's talk about which one of these are the deals, which are the duds. Quick recap: the Plymouth one, kind of a skinny deal to foreclose, a decent deal if it's an REO. If you've got a rehab funding partner, you're not having to pay money costs, it's a pretty decent deal there for you. Columbus Township with a red door, decent deal to foreclose, kind of skinny if you had to take it back and didn't get increased value in an REO. The pink one, decent deal for both. Never know the repairs and what it looks like if it's still looking like that inside. And then the last one, the Minneapolis non-performing, decent deal for reinstated or forbearance agreement if it's occupied. Somewhat of a skinny deal if it's sold at the foreclosure auction, but could make some money depending on where they're at. I haven't had a legal update on that one. I know that they started the process, but I don't know how far along on that one is. So if you sold at the foreclosure auction, no redemption period, but if you had to take it back, it's a pretty decent deal if you take it back and sell it as an REO and had to deal with that redemption period there for you. So looks at, of course, everybody's different. If you're across the country, like Dale said, you probably wouldn't be buying in Minneapolis trying to rehab in the middle of the winter if you don't live here.
Come on up. We're friendly up here.
You are pretty friendly.
Yeah.
I don't mind rehab, and I've rehabbed plenty of properties across the country before, but if it's your first deal, probably not a good deal to do that. Yeah. And we're looking forward to having you here in Austin in a couple of weeks. It's hard to believe.
I will be there.
February 14th through the 16th. If you want to learn how to do more of this stuff, come on down, go to notebuyingfordummies.com to get signed up. We'll do plenty of case studies throughout this, and no, we will not be revisiting these unless numbers have changed on this one, Dale. So we'll look forward to seeing you again and taking out for some good Texas barbecue while you're here.
I'm looking forward to being back down in Austin. It's been a few years.
And you don't need to take your puffy jacket either.
What is the temperature at that time of year down there? I usually go in
Well,
April.
so February is always kind of a hit and miss.
Is it rainy?
We've always had like the first week of February is always the coldest week of the year. Valentine's Day, we've been without power before because we got so much rain and ice in the power plants. Other times it's